Hello all, I'm Sai and you're watching The Book Dragon. In today's video, I'm bringing to you my spoiler-free review of The Two Towers by J.R.R. Tolkien. This is the second book in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, if you consider it as a trilogy, or it is the middle of the one book, which is the entire series itself. I already have spoiler-free reviews for both The Hobbit as well as The Fellowship of the Ring out in the channel. I've linked them down in the description, you can go and check them out if you're interested. Now in this spoiler-free review, I'll just give you my thoughts about how I felt about the book and the various segments and characters that are included inside the book. Even when I talk about specific things, I'll try to keep it as vague as possible so that if you've not read the books, you'll not get spoiled for it, as well as if you've read the books, you'll understand what I'm talking about. So without any further ado, let's get into the review right away. First, for the people who have not read the book, now The Two Towers is the second book, just as I said before, and in this we follow our cast of main characters just within an hour after the end of the first book. The first book ends in such a way that we have all these main characters who've traveled as a group together for this long in the first book and being separated towards the climax, and after that the paths which they take and the things that happen to them as groups in different parts of this Middle Earth itself is the actual premise of The Two Towers. Apart from just this, we also get a lot more lore and history of the world and what are all the things that have been going on for all these years and the consequences of such things which are being experienced now, and if it continues, how the future will look forward in Middle Earth as a whole. We just don't follow the single plotline of taking the ring to the mountain alone, but also various other side plot lines which include different characters and different kingdoms which are also part of the Middle Earth, and what all can happen to all these different kingdoms if they fall, and what kind of dark effect it can have on this entire world is even more deeply discussed in The Two Towers compared to The Fellowship of the Ring. I can say that The Two Towers takes a darker tone compared to The Fellowship of the Ring because here we see a lot of consequences of the things that have happened in the past. It's not like the things that have happened in a year or two in the past, but across decades and centuries, and the long-term effects that they have left on the land. So as a whole, it feels kind of like a dystopian book with a huge load of fantasy that is put into it that actually drives us as a reader to complete the book. Now let's get into these specific parts where in the ending of the first book we get our main group of 9 characters being split into groups, and in one group we have Sam and Frodo who are taking the ring towards Mordor, and Merry and Pippin are ending up in a different direction because of the things that happen towards the climax, and Aragorn, Legolas and Gimli are taken towards it completely different directions because of the decisions that they make. I can say that of all the 3 different paths which we experienced throughout this book, my most favorite was that of Merry and Pippin because they have the most adventurous journey compared to anyone else in here. The path that Legolas, Gimli and Aragorn take is also very interesting, but I can say that it is not that much connected because they keep on moving from one place to another, and it seems like we are changing environments each and every time we see them. But I really did not expect to see Rohan as another kingdom being included inside the main plot of the story itself. The things that happen in Rohan and how our 3 main characters handle it is really awesome to read. The history behind Rohan and how it is taken by Saruman, all of those things were slowly explained as well as they were not boring to read. Okay, I can say that in the first book, the first half, as I said in my first book's review itself, was so difficult for me to read. I just felt like I wanted to DNF the book, but only because of my conviction to finish the book, I just got to Rivendell, and after that everything went really well for me. But here it was not like that. Even reaching Rohan was good, and the things that happen in Rohan and the things that happen for our main characters in Rohan and how their path continues on further, all those things were really put together well in this one compared to the first book. The way in which the plotline of Rohan ended up combining with the plotline of Merry and Pippin's story was also something which I did not see coming at all, because they felt like these were completely different pieces of the story which are being talked about and they will make sense in the last book. That was what I was thinking, but I did not see all those things coagulating together in this book itself, so it was a surprise for me and I liked it very much. Next, moving on to Merry and Pippin's storyline, I can say that of all the things, that is my most favorite part, and the main reason for it being my most favorite part is the ends, and specifically Treebeard compared to anyone else. Okay, every scene that had Treebeard and Merry and Pippin put together just felt like a scene between a grandfather and his grandchildren, because the hobbits are tiny, right, and the ents are huge trees which can actually talk and walk and give reflexes and responses to the things that we have. And the slow way in which the ents live is also something which made a lot of sense for me, because they have lived for centuries put together, and in order to not grow so old very quickly, they have to live their lives very slowly. And the way in which they speak, okay, the ent mood was something which just felt so hilarious for me. In order to come to a conclusion that Merry and Pippin are actually hobbits, which is a totally different species and not orcs itself, the ents take a lot of time, and that just explains their lifestyle in some way or the other to us. And the way in which Treebeard actually explains this type of lifestyle to Merry and Pippin, and he takes and safeguards them and gives them water. Okay, they just feed water and they've grown this huge, the trees, and the effect of that water on Merry and Pippin, which is explained to us in the further parts of the story most of all, the thing which just staggered me the most when it came to the part involving the Ents is their history, okay? And when Treebeard tells the tale of the Ent wives and how all of these people have separated now and there are not going to be any more Ents in the future if the situation just keeps on prolonging. We all know that it is going to be a sad ending for the Ents, but the way in which Treebeard actually conveys it to Merry and Pippin and makes us readers understand was something which was just so masterful, okay? He does not use that many words, but the way in which he speaks or the dialogues that are written for Treebeard itself shows us that the lifestyle of the Ents is something which is very, very slow. We can completely understand it. So anything that they experience is going to be for a prolonged time period. Even the pain that they feel because of the separation from the Ent wives is also going to be for a very long period and can be understood from the way in which Treebeard actually explains it to us. At last, when all the Ents actually come together in order to take down Isengard and the things that they actually do, okay, they are all practical, and the power of nature that is being shown to us through the Ents and how the trees also feel when their companions are being cut down, and we have deforestation even nowadays, and because of all that we are suffering a lot which we don't see coming. I think some things like those were like foreseen by Tolkien, and they are societal issues. Actually, I don't think that they might have been of that much importance during the time in which the books were published, but now they are like global problems, and how all these very life-threateningly natural things are actually included in the series by Tolkien in a fantastical style was something which I just felt very, very amusing to read. Now we are going to move on into Frodo and Sam's part of the journey. Okay, I can say that I was very much pissed off in order to not see Frodo and Sam for the first half of the book. Okay, for the first half we completely focus on all these other 7 characters, and in the second half of the book we just focus on 3 characters alone, which was a bit annoying for me because I felt like those people were not at all given that much time. We got a lot out of their story, but I did not feel like I spent that much time with all those 7 characters compared to the time that I spent with these 3 characters. I can understand that the amount of time that is spent in the second half is to make us feel how hard a place Mordor is and how hard the journey Frodo and Sam are taking towards in order to take the ring to Mordor. It's not just a physically taxing journey, but the mental effects that it has on Frodo, and because of Frodo, it has on Sam because of his loyalty towards Frodo. All those things just made a lot of sense. The inclusion of Gollum inside the second part of the story was also something which I did expect coming, because I could understand that Gollum would be following Sam and Frodo because his eyes are totally on the ring itself, and these are the only people who have the ring right now. Compared to all the others of the Fellowship, he does not even care about them. The relationship that he forms with Frodo as well as Sam in the second half of the book also was something which was just very much dragged out, and it felt very natural to me. The way in which he has written Smeagol and Gollum together and showing them as 2 different people inside the same person, as different personalities that are actually clashing towards each other, and giving us thrill to know who's going to win and who's going to lose, and whether Gollum will actually betray these 2 people or he'll just help Frodo because of the compassion and pity Frodo has shown to him. All those things were really nicely put together, okay? In order to get through this rough chunk of land which is in Mordor, we need to get a really good character dynamic, and the way in which he has used that doubtful character dynamic between these 3 characters was really a thing which drove me to read the book continuously. I can say that I read the second half of the book much faster compared to the first half, but many things happened only in the first half. Sam's loyalty towards Frodo in this book was something which I just felt very, very heartwarming, okay, because I've not at all seen that kind of very pure friendship where a person always puts themselves forward when it comes to any kind of threat in order to protect the other friend, and always giving them the higher ground in order to achieve the things. Okay, I can say that rather than anyone else, Sam has the most understanding compared to all the other characters, because there is some point in one book or the other so far that all the other characters have tripped a little bit, but Sam has not at all tripped at all, because he has always been loyal to Frodo, and that is his foremost task compared to anything else. The way in which he treats Smeagol is also something which is a bit unkind and cruel at times, but I can say that Sam is the only person who is able to see Gollum for the good as well as the bad equally. So more than anything, I can say that the dynamic that we saw between Smeagol or Gollum and Sam in this one was the thing which drove me to completely finish the second half of the book. Finally, I want to talk about some of my favorite characters and places inside this book. My most favorite of all the characters is obviously Sam, okay? Because I did not see that any other character rather than Sam was written in a better way. And he was the one character whom I was rooting for compared to anyone else, not even Frodo. And the next one is Treebeard, okay? The history of Treebeard and the way in which he's shown like a very old man, like a grandpa, was something which just connected with me a lot. And I just felt like it was much more closer to my heart compared to any other things. So yes guys, that was my review of The Two Towers by J.R.R. Tolkien. If you did enjoy watching today's video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and also share it to your friends. If you want to get more content from me, do subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching and have a great rest of your day.